All right, today is September 12th, 2025. These are my trades. You can see there was only three of them, but I hit my profit target of 8 ticks, and it was pretty quick. It was only like, when was my first trade? My first trade was at 9:45, and my last trade was at 9:54. So in a 10-minute time period, I got those trades, but it did take me about um, like the session itself was a half hour because I had to pulse check a couple trades. I had to get a good feel. Before the open, I had to write up a plan and stuff like that. Speaking of which, let's look at the daily plan. So, yesterday's price action, there's not much I took away from this. It was kind of an uptrend day yesterday. It was a very, very strong uptrend day yesterday. You could see a couple executions here that I took towards the close, and they were also solid trades, 100% win rate across 4 trades. Just trading pretty simple setups there, low risk. When when the environment is risk off, I try to keep my risk very tight. When it's risk on, I let them breathe a little bit more. This was my plan today, according to the daily chart. If we breached the prior day high, I wanted to see us accept above it and continue higher. If we breached high of day and then accepted back below, I wanted to see us uh, continue lower towards prior day low. The problem is that the range on yesterday's daily candle was so wide that the likelihood of us reaching prior day low is super low. The likelihood of us at least testing prior day high was pretty good. Um, so these were my two risk on scenarios, and neither one of them ended up happening. So today was very much a risk off type of day. Um, my plan, as I just said, acceptance above prior day high, risk on long. Failure above prior day high and acceptance below is risk on short. And anything in between is risk off. Practice extreme caution. So today was very tight risk off. Just trying to keep my risk in check and not lose too much on one trade. My goal was to build a narrative that respects bias. I think I did a pretty good job of that. I won't replay the entire recording, but I did self narrate. I tried to build a narrative and talk through my thoughts instead of just silently trading. 8 tick profit target, 10 tick risk, which I did respect. Now let's jump into the trades. This is trade number one. It was a 2 tick profit to the long side. Long 86.50. I took it off for 2 ticks profit. I think that's pretty solid. Maybe could have gotten my point out of it, but I just didn't want to hang out, especially since we started printing more green bars below. So I think that was a pretty solid way to start my day. All right, so yeah, as you're hearing my voice in that recording, um, 2 tick profit. I would have liked to get the point out of it. I think it was a pretty solid setup, and I will screenshot this and narrate why I think it was a good setup. Actually, can I increase the quality on this? 720 is as high as it'll go. I actually want to change that. I'll have to change it later. I want to start doing 1080p. I think it'll take a little bit more demand from my PC, but I think it can handle it. In the meantime, though, let's screenshot this. Oh, actually, I want to let it play a little bit longer so I can catch the where my ideal exit would have been. So, this is why this was a good setup in my opinion. Let me just narrate these real quick. 30-second plus 2 ticks. 1. 3-second. All right, so I've got 2 red order blocks above me, which I want to see get taken out. There's also a pink order bar, which signifies pretty high order block volume there. Actually, what I might do is I'm going to extend these ones out a little bit. Just to highlight them a little bit. So we trade into these 2 order blocks that we have above us. By themselves, that's not a really big deal. We've also got a bigger one up here, technically. But it's the fact that on the 32nd we had a pink, which is a big order. I think that's 50. A 50 lot order came in up there. And I want to fade into that. That 50 lot order got filled, and then price came down a lot. So either that buyer is already out of the market, or price is just going to come back and fade into him. It doesn't matter which one's true. What's true is that there were orders there, and now we're coming back into that area of orders. So you can see here on as well on the 3-second, we also had green order blocks below us, which I will also highlight, and these get invalidated. So price comes down, we trade through those, and it gets invalidated, which I really like. So now there's no green order blocks behind me, because again, price likes to fade into these. So let me text those out. Outstanding buyer bid orders invalidated. Orders above. And we take them back pretty quick, honestly. Let me get my orders in here. I believe this was my entry right here, and my exit was right here. My ideal exit probably would have been that first order bar or right below it. So my entry, my exit, ideal exit. I think I could have held this a little bit longer. This was a really good setup. The fact that we invalidated those orders below and then immediately came back up with pretty decent pressure. I do want to point out, though, that still need to be careful with bids below. So just practice caution. I can't hold these for the world. They're only really good for a scalp, especially since we're in a risk-off environment, which I should also make a note of. Risk off. And again, the reason why we're risk off is because neither one of those daily chart biases played out. None of those ideas, none of the plan that I had played out, which is telling me that today could be an inside day, meaning a range day. We just kind of bracket between the high and the low. And what happens later in the day doesn't really matter to me because I'm not trading later in the day. What matters to me is what's happening right now. And what's happening now is that we're not taking the high of day, the prior high. We're just kind of ranging. We're just kind of bracketing, which means I need to cut trades quick. pretty much it, I believe. I do want to also highlight precedents. There's precedents. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. So I do have precedents that those orders are getting taken back. And I think that's good. So let's paste that in there. As for tags, I was kind of mid on the range, so I didn't have range favor. No established trend yet. I did have a reclaim favor. There was reclaim above me that I traded into. And I think that's it. I think that's good enough, really. I just had the order blocks and the reclaim. Entry good. Exit was a little early, but I'm not upset about that by any means. I have to be risk off in this environment. Slip favor. My market read was clear. I was calm. I was content, and I was patient with this trade. And it was a green star. Trade number 2 is a 4-tick profit to the short side. This is also a green star trade. Let's watch the recording. There we go. Got filled. I'm actually going to back up because I think I do talk about why I got into this trade. So let's try to get all that context. I might even speed it up a little bit. Let's do 1.25. What is setting up though is a potential. What is setting up though is a potential short. We got a bunch of greens below. Let's see if we reject here. I'll go ahead and try it. 89.50 short. Move my risk up a little bit. It looks like I'm not going to get filled on it. My order's still resting at 89.50. There we go. I got filled. Took it off for the point. It was a very good trade there. You can see how many green bars we had below these, all these bid blocks. We took them back pretty fast. I also like how quick this move up was. Usually when we get a quick move up like that, it's a sign that they're going to fade it because what they're doing is they're pulling all the offers so that price artificially pumps up. They can get filled with more shorts and then it retraces. So I think that was a very good trade there. All right. See, as you heard in the recording, I'm kind of talking through why I took that short. I wasn't crazy about going short here because we're at high of day. We're near high of day, and the prior day high is still above us. Because the prior day was so extremely bullish, chances are we're going to continue that trend and take out the prior day high. So I do have to be really careful taking shorts here. However, the setup here was awesome. It was a great setup. I might even go as far as to say this is an A+ setup, and I will go over why. So let's screenshot this. First thing I want to do is get my orders in. Entry. My exit, and that was pretty much perfect. I don't think I could have executed this any better. I want to highlight all of these green bars. Major bid blocks to be taken. I've also got another one down here working in my favor. And then I've also got precedence. Precedence plus more bid blocks. There is one cell block behind me, which I just need to be careful of. Single cell block. Caution. So again, I can't hold this for the world. I can't hold this all the way down here to 86s because too much can happen in between then. It's good for a scalp, and to get a point out of it, I think is awesome. I think that was a great execution. Go ahead and put my narration in there. 3-second. Vortex short. Put a little narration here. Move. All right, so just to summarize, um, these highs are failing. We've tested them 3 times and rejected off them. The fourth time is where I get short. Um, the move up happens very fast, signaling that either the offers have been lifted to entice volume or shorts are getting squeezed. Either way, this fast price movement is likely to get retraced, at least temporarily. Just because it gets retraced doesn't mean that like we're going to continue lower. It's just a very brief area of edge. Um, There is a single cell block on my backside, which I just need to practice caution with. That's pretty much it. Great trade. I am going to tag this A plus. Uh, I'm going to create a new tag for big order block. And normal order block. And that way I can kind of differentiate between the two. So this one I had a big order block in my favor. I had normal order blocks in my favor, but I also had one normal order block behind me. Those big order blocks obviously being of bigger significance. And I think that's it. I was calm. I was clear. I was content. I was patient with this trade. Green star A plus. Trade number 3 is a 2-tick profit to the short side. Let's watch this real quick. I'm gonna take it for 2 ticks. Got it. And I'm done for the day. That's my profit target right there. I'm gonna rewind just so I can hear a bit of the narration. Pretty good upward momentum there with some greens below. We invalidated one of those reds. I'm gonna try the short at 90. I'm gonna take it for 2 ticks. Got it. And I'm done for the day. That's my profit target right there. So that was a pretty simple trade. Not a whole lot is gonna. There's not a whole lot that went into this trade. It's pretty simple, and I would probably consider this to be like a B setup maybe. So let's screenshot it. So this is essentially what we're looking at here. Let me do my narration first. 30-second plus 2 ticks short. 3-second. All right. So invalidation of this order block here. Invalidation of cell block. And then we've got multiple. S is the shortcut for that. Multiple buy blocks below. With precedence. And that's kind of it. I don't have much else going here. I do need to practice caution because we are uptrending. So practice caution. caution. Short. Practice caution on shorts because we're uptrending and arguably we're compressing. So just got to be super careful. It's only worth a couple ticks, which is exactly what I get out of it. I don't think I could have held this much longer, honestly. I think this was pretty much as good as it gets. I also need to take risk off because that's the environment we're in. All right, so did we have big order blocks in our favor? No, we did not on this one. We just had normal order blocks in our favor. We do have compression against, which I've already tagged. That's kind of it. So that's why this is a B setup. There's one thing in my favor, there's one thing against me, so it kind of cancels out. This is kind of a low edge setup. For that reason, because it's low edge, I think it's only worth the 2 ticks maybe. So good entry, good exit. I had slip favor, I was clear, I was calm, I was content, I was patient. My emotions were pretty much perfect throughout the entire session. Paste that in there. And that's pretty much it. That's my day. I think despite the implication of having a 100% win rate, I know that sounds exciting, but it's also kind of boring, and I want it to be. I want my trading sessions to be boring. I want them to be quick. I took all these trades within 10 minutes of each other, which was really nice. I don't want there to be a lot of volatility. I wasn't, emotional at any point. I think all things considered, this was an awesome session. I don't think it really could have gone any better. I think I did a good job following my plan too. I was pretty risk off. I think a good way to tell is whether or not I'm being conservative. I was conservative on all 3 trades. I'm gonna try. If I'm if it's a risk off environment and I'm being aggressive, something's wrong. There's something going wrong there. If it's a risk off environment and I'm being conservative, I think that's perfect. I'm keeping my risk in check. I don't think I ever risked more than like 5 ticks on each one of these trades, which is good. I don't have a lot else to really say about that. Let's look at my do the report card template here. As I mentioned, my goal, at least for the next couple weeks, is going to be to work on a narrative skill. I want to get really good at narrating what I'm trading, talking through my thought process, and building a story for each trade, which I think I did a pretty good job of doing that today. One way, if we're getting into ways of which I plan on achieving that goal, number one is the daily plan that I do before each session. I want to the point of the plan isn't that I'm hoping to trade the prior day high or I'm going to short the prior day low or anything like that. It's not influencing my trading at all. It's influencing my risk. So just to summarize, this isn't a setup. I'm not trading a setup based on my daily time frame bias. It's just a guideline for risk and how aggressive I should be. If if my daily time frame analysis is wrong, then it's probably best to be risk off and to be conservative and to keep my risks tight. If my daily bias is right and it seems to be playing out, then I can, pump the gas a little bit more. I can widen my risk a little bit. I can push trades a little further. So if my long-term goal is to build narration skills, I think a good um, uh, short-term goal to accomplish that is making sure I do the plan each day. And I plan on tracking that. So today I did do my plan. I did stick to my plan. I did a good job of narrating during the session. Each one of my trades had a narration. I think it's bad when I'm just sitting here silently trading, just clicking buttons, and all my thoughts are internal and subconscious. I think it's really easy to get carried away. Whereas when you're talking, you're turning those internal thoughts into external thoughts. You're bringing those thoughts from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind, and you're actually thinking about it, which I think is good. Um, the easiest trade today, I think, was probably the 4 tick winner, trade number 2. It just instantly went in my favor. I got really good ticks out of it. It was an A plus setup. I had 3 factors of support in my favor. There was a big order block, there was a small order block, and I had range favor. We were pretty clearly ranging at this point in the day. Um, I only had 2 things against me, a small order block and compression, because we were kind of compressing upwards on the 30-second time frame. My execution was pretty much perfect. I just, got in short, it got filled, and the trade duration was only 9 seconds between getting filled and between taking the 4 tick profit was only 9 seconds. So I mean, it can't really get much easier than that. I loved that trade. Um, I kind of already talked about the things I did good. I followed my goal. I stuck to my plan. I think I was very calm and concise. I talked about every trade I was about to take and I executed accordingly, but I also didn't hesitate. I think a big thing, a big lesson I learned back in May and June when I was drilling a lot was sometimes you identify a setup and you kind of sit there and think, is this a setup? Is it not a setup? Like, it looks kind of weird. It looks kind of funky. Maybe it could be a setup. If you're sitting there thinking too much about it, one of 2 things is happening. Either A, you're trying to force the trade and it's not a good setup and you need to step away, or B, you're scared. You're scared of putting the risk on. Sometimes you just got to pull the trigger. If it looks like a setup, you take it. You just click the fucking button. You you need that mentality of just go for it. Just do it, you know. Uh, if you lean too much into that mentality, you can get into trouble. But at the end of the day, risk makes money, and you need to put risk on at a certain point. Um, things I need to improve on. I would like my plan to be a little bit more in depth, but at the same time, I don't want to make it a chore. I like how easy this was. It literally took me, 60 seconds to throw this together. Um, I would also like to expand on my checklist skills. My checklist is not built right now. I've got a couple different draft checklists that I still need to work out on the Tradecraft software. Um, that's going to take some work. It's something I need to put many hours into, and I just don't have the time for it right now. Um, but I think it's worth pointing out that I am technically neglecting doing that, and I did something I need to work on. Something I need to do in the coming future. Um, I in 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 summation, I think this was a great session. I'm very proud of the way I traded today. It was 100% win rate, but it was boring. It was a very calm, boring session, and that's exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be calm, disciplined. It was everything that I want to emulate as a trader. So, if I was to grade myself today, I would probably give myself an A. There's some things to work on. I still need to work on technology. I need to get that checklist up. I also need to change some things about the way I'm streaming, and like system wise and how I'm doing these reviews and stuff like that. All that's going to take time. But as far as execution and how I executed trades today, I definitely think today was an A.